What if I told you someone could steal your data right now? Are you surprised? Don't be. That's why on your favorite podcast today, The Bliss Hour, we've come with an educating discussion tagged Staying Safe Online and other cybersecurity tips for everyday people like me and you. We'll go on a short break. When we get back, we'll get to introduce our guests. Welcome back from that short break, guys. Like I said, we have a guest, a professional that will leave the introduction for him, please.
Okay, Chuku Success Chilling. I'm a cybersecurity engineer, ethical hacker, and a Python programmer. And I literally spend my days protecting digital systems and even breaking into them, but of course, legally. And I'm not here to, bore you with jargons or bore you with a lot of technicalities because cybersecurity is something that concerns everybody, whether or not you think you are a tech person or you are just somebody scrolling through the social media. It is something that concerns all of us. So we're going to keep it fun, we're going to keep it simple, and packed with tips that you're going to be using today.
Okay, I like the energy. You're welcome to the Bliss Hour once
Yeah,
again.
thank you for having me.
I love the energy already. So, as a cybersecurity professional, what is the meaning of cybersecurity? Like for people that are not techie, do not have the knowledge about cybersecurity, what can you say to us?
All right, cybersecurity is like the locks on your doors and your windows, but
Okay.
for your phones, your computers, or other devices, and even your online accounts. Now, cybersecurity is literally the practice of protecting these digital systems.
Okay.
You want to protect it from people who shouldn't have access to it, and that is cybersecurity in simple terms. And you cannot give out your password.
Yeah.
And why give out your password when you cannot give out your house keys to strangers you don't know? Because you don't know what they can do without. You don't know what they can do with the level of access you're giving to them. Because some of them might have malicious intentions and some of them might have ulterior motives. So if they gain access, unauthorized access as per se to your homes, to your houses, and they can cause a lot of damages to your properties. The same thing is applicable to your digital systems, your online accounts. So cybersecurity is trying to kind of ward off these people who shouldn't have access to your private information that are stored online.
Okay. So you mentioned you're a professional, cybersecurity professional, Python, whatever, and ethical hacker. So what was that thing, that one thing that made you take the decision of going to that field?
All right. I started as a graphics designer
Okay.
and I pivoted to videography. And later on, actually, what made me come into cybersecurity was when I was in school, there was this free tech event, cybersecurity as per se. The host then was, I think, the River State government in conjunction with the SUG then. And they were inviting all of us because they had interesting guests, like people from the EFCC, people from DSS, even people from the police. They were all representing, and then people from Harvard Tech as well. So when you were in school, usually when you have these events, you would go there thinking that probably you want to have access to the free food they will be sharing. So I had no idea that I was going to gain an insight on what cybersecurity is, insight knowledge of what it is that particular day. So when I got there with the intention of just going to for the refreshment purpose, right? But then after that particular program, I got huge insights and I was captivated by some of the presentations there. And that is how I pivoted to cybersecurity because there was a training after them and I took the training seriously.
So let's just say you were not even prepared for it.
No, I was
You were
not
just
prepared for it.
invited,
Yeah.
and that was it.
Yes, that was it.
Okay. So people make mistakes. Nobody is above mistakes.
Of course.
But what's that one mistake we usually take that might be risky to us?
All right. Just like you mentioned, people make mistakes,
Yeah.
and one common mistake that people make online, but they don't know it is a mistake, is having to use the same password all over, across all different sites, across all different social media
But
platforms
I
that
thought
they
they're
use.
supposed to use something they can be able to remember.
Yes, they can use something they can be able to remember, but here is the risk. There's what we call credential stuffing. Right now, it is when hackers get access to your website, sorry, your password from a compromised website or a website that has been breached. If they gain access to it, they're going to try to use it to brute force other websites and gain access to multiple accounts. And if they gain access to multiple accounts, of course, you know that they can, if it is a social media account, they can impersonate you and try to defraud people that are close to you. And there is also password exposure. So if one password is compromised, if one password is exposed due to the compromise of a particular website you're using, you know that your other accounts or your other accounts in other websites, are at the risk of being exposed due to the fact that you are using one password across multiple platforms.
Mhm. Okay, so the social media is used by both the young and
Yes.
the old. So what's that easy way? Just that's one easy way we can be able to protect our social media accounts.
All right, there is one simple tip, which is stop, think, then click.
Okay.
Now, when you see a link, when you are scrolling to your social media and you see a link, before you click that link, now you need to first of all think, check the URL or hover through the URL to see if it
So
is
I
legitimate.
would like you to explain what URL is.
Okay, Universal Resource Locator,
Okay.
that is what it stands for. So you need to hover through it and make sure that it is legitimate, because most of these links that emanate from phishing attempts are actually malicious. Some of them contain malicious software that if you click on it, it can be downloaded without your knowledge. And if that's the case, depending on what the malicious software is designed to do, some of them are designed to spy on you, some of them can record your keystrokes, some of them can even have access to your webcam, some of them can exfiltrate your data, can target specific data on your phone or your computer devices, they can delete it, they can damage it.
Wow.
Yeah, they can even steal your credentials and they can steal sensitive information such as your bank details. Yeah.
Just by clicking the link.
Yes.
Technology is doing something to us. Okay, so as a professional, I know you weren't prepared to go into cybersecurity as
I become prepared in the
yeah.
process.
Okay, so have you been hacked?
No, actually, I've not been hacked. Even before I, pivoted to cybersecurity, I've been cautious enough. I've been cautious enough about my digital life, and I've always stayed curious. Even though I was still a graphics designer and a videographer then, though I was still, conscious. I was still curious. I used to ask questions, especially when I see movies like this about people getting hacked. So I used to, look at things that could help me stay safe online.
So you've not been almost hacked.
No, no, no.
You don't have any experience. What about people close around you? Can you
Yes,
like
I know somebody, of course. I know somebody that her Instagram account was compromised.
okay?
So, and the funny thing is that all of a sudden we started seeing naked photos. And the funny thing is that the person is not even aware that something like that. So we started seeing naked pictures or photos all of a sudden in that particular Instagram account. And the owner, I could still remember, the owner called me and said, success, so look at what is happening to my social media account. Oh. What can we do about it and all of that? So luckily for us, the Instagram account had a two-factor authentication. So that gave us time and enabled us to actually look into the problem and eliminated the threat. That is the other party that was using the account. Now we were able to do that because the social media was still having two-factor authentication that probably gave it an extra layer of security.
All right. So what do you think is the mistake this person made that made her Instagram account hacked?
All right, there, like I stated, it might be as a result of clicking, unverified links.
Okay.
It might also be as a result of not, updating or regularly updating the softwares you use or the applications you use. Because here is one good thing about updating your applications or your softwares is because some of these updates comes along with security fixes or patches. Now, these security patches fixes the vulnerabilities that were discovered in the previous version. And then if you don't update, you're not going to have access to those security fixes. And then you're leaving yourself exposed to those weaknesses that was probably or previously discovered. So that is one thing about that. And probably the person was not using strong password policies. So maybe the password was weak and they were able to gain access to it. Or the person is sharing a lot of information online. Things like your bank details, things like your age, things like, especially personal informations or identity infos, things that we could use to identify individuals, because these are the sort of informations that malicious actors need to gain access to your phones, your computers, or even your online accounts.
Okay, so let's say for working class people, people that work in different offices and all that, that usually get emails. Or let me just say myself, I get an email today. How do I know it's real and it's authentic? Because it might look so real and I cannot differentiate the fake and the real one. So how do I do that?
All right. You know, we have phishing emails or phishing. Phishing is kind of an attempt to trick your targets or to trick individuals into performing certain actions or even releasing sensitive information. So there are probably 5 or more ways we can actually verify the legitimacy of an email. Now, number one thing is we need to look at the sender's address. Malicious email usually comes along with malicious sender's address. The address is usually malicious, something that is not legitimate, something that is not, might be close to the legitimate email address, but it is not it, because there will be few characters that would not be the same or that would not match. So taking time to actually look at the sender's email address is very key to identifying malicious emails. Another tips there is that there is usually this urgent and threatening language they use. So you need to be cautious about emails telling you to do something, threatening you about consequences if you don't act immediately. There is this urgency. They want you to do something. They might say, hey, we're closing your account in the next 24 hours. We need you to click on this link so that you can restore access.
Okay. So
So
that's a fake.
exactly. And another thing is there is usually this they usually personalize, or there is usually this generic greeting. They don't personalize their greetings, because top organizations, if they are sending emails to you, especially the ones that require action, they will address you by your names,
Okay.
by your full names. So this is also a helpful tip. Then malicious emails usually contains malicious links or attachments at the end of it. So those link is something that they can use to kind of further their attack. Can deliver a payload, probably install a malicious software on your phone if you click on those links or those attachments. Yeah, so these are the few tips that you can use to identify illegitimate emails.
What about links? Because all links looks the same to me, actually. So
Yeah.
how can I differentiate that this link is fake and then this other one is real?
All right. You should be familiar with the official websites, official links of website links of the organizations you are browsing their
Okay.
sites. So there is usually when you look at the URL, there are usually lots of subdomains attached to malicious links. Links that you see them, you have abnormal characters and all of that. Google is straightforward, www.google.com. But if it is malicious or if it is cloned, maybe they are trying to imitate Google, you will see something like www.google. Maybe one of the zeros, or sorry, one of the O there will not be the normal one. They might use another character there. And at the end of it, you might see something like slash, this, HT, Z, this. All these subdomains that are malicious, characters that are malicious. And some of those characters might actually be payloads. Yes.
Okay. I hope you guys are learning, by the way, because I'm learning a lot. So I hear recently that just by turning on your hotspot or connecting to Wi-Fi, your informations can be stolen. How true is this? How about the people that goes to public spaces, like maybe schools? They have this public Wi-Fi you can connect to, Wi-Fi you can have access to. So how risky is this?
Okay, you know how then our parents used to tell us, when we were in secondary schools or primary schools, our parents used to tell us that if somebody offers free candies or free sweets to us on the way, we should not accept it, because there is usually this fear and tension that after taking something from them, you wake up in the midnight,
Can be jazzed up.
exactly, to join their meeting. Now, free Wi-Fi's, you don't usually know, or public Wi-Fi's, you don't usually know who is connecting. You don't know the kind of systems that are connecting to that free Wi-Fi. And one thing about our computer systems is that they have a way of communicating with each other. Yes. So they have rules that they communicate with each other, and these rules are protocols. So these are kind of agreements that they use to exchange data or information. So for us to, let's say for me and you to exchange information, we need certain things. At least we need our mouths to communicate. So we need to share personal information. You can know my name, and I will also know your name. So we are giving out this information if we want to establish connection with another device. So connecting with Wi-Fi requires you to kind of give out certain details about your devices. And people, malicious actors or hackers, that they can just position themselves in that particular Wi-Fi, load it with start analyzing it with their packet sniffers. Packet sniffers enables us to kind of exfiltrate or sniff or even view credentials as they travel across in real time. So this means that they can monitor the traffics of every other person that are connected to that particular Wi-Fi. And by so doing, for you to browse, for you to send message, you are exchanging sensitive information. You are exchanging sensitive data, right? And they can actually sniff on those sensitive information. They can intercept it and they can sniff on it. They can use it for their malicious purposes. But if you want to use free Wi-Fi, you should actually turn on your VPN services, right? Because this will give you an extra layer of security by masking your identity and even as well as encrypting your data while they travel, while they are in transit, while they travel across network. But if you want to carry out sensitive activities, if you want to carry out sensitive activities, we advise you to always switch back to your mobile data, right?
Okay, so I also observed that these hackers or malicious actors, like you call them, they always attack the regular kind of people. I also found out that just with your data, they can be able to access your bank details and all that, and be able to clear up your money. And they go after people that are not even financially buoyant. Why is it? Why is that? Is it that they are so vulnerable or something? I don't know.
Okay, hackers, by the definition of their intentions, they have different intentions.
Okay.
They are the ones that are script kiddies. This kind of people, what they do is that they are just learning and they want to try every possible skill they have learned so far. And there are also people who target specific organizations or specific individuals, especially normal people, like you mentioned, who are unsuspecting. Because some of them, they just want to use digital platform to send messages to their loved ones, right? And by doing that, they don't know that they risk certain things because their data is valuable. People has valuable informations that ranges from bank details, identity info, or personal information as well. And sometimes why they target these normal people that are unsuspecting is because they use them as baits or botnet, what is known as botnets. That is, they use them to target huge organizations, right? Yeah, and there is also what is known as zombie computers or zombie PCs. These are just regular people browsing through the websites that are not aware that probably the website is compromised.
So why are they tag zombie?
Yes, because they don't know that somebody is controlling their PC. Somebody that has a remote control.
Okay.
Yeah, somebody like the hacker has a remote control and
So
it's
let's just say
controlling
they
their
are
PC.
ignorant.
Yes, they don't know. And then they can use it to initiate attack on larger organizations. Probably attacks such as DDoS, distributed denial of service attack, where they tend to overwhelm the servers of these organizations to cause disruption of services. And they use this method so that they can use it to kind of obscure their traces, or hide their identity, so that it's difficult for the digital forensic guys to trace the actual cause or the actual source of such attacks. And those kind of informations they have, like the bank details, they can use it to steal their money. They can use it to, move out their funds. And their personal information, they can use it to compromise their identity and impersonate them, thereby probably defrauding their loved ones or people that are close to them. Because when your personal information is compromised, your online identity is compromised as well. And because of that, they can impersonate you and then use your digital identity to carry out scams or fraudulent activities. Do you understand? And these days, hacked Facebook account or social media account are sold for money.
Yes.
And what they use it for? They use it to probably target their kind of victims. Those people they know that, yes, especially clients as they all know it. So those persons that they know that will pay them money. of course. So because they are using other people's identity to do that. All right. So this is one of the reasons why they target more people.
Wow. It's not also easy to be a hacker. You need to undergo different processes.
Yes, it's not easy.
All right. So talking about phishing, you don't just have emails. We also have WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, and other social media platforms. How can we be able to differentiate the real and fake links and all that we are supposed to click on
Okay.
different platforms?
All right. Usually use verified sources. If you want to download Facebook, don't download from websites. Go to Google Play Stores or the Apple Store. These are kind of legitimate organizations, and if you download from them, they know that they have been vetted, so they have passed some sort of levels before they were able to list their platform, and they are trusted. So if you want to download things like that, you download from them, and then if you also want to access Facebook, you check their official website. If you want to access it from your browsers, you check the official website, because some of these um, sites can also be cloned. Yes, can also be cloned to imitate the real thing. So what happens is that if you input your passwords or input your login details there, so that your login details will be sent to their own C2 server, because they have a server that will be monitoring your activities, probably recording your keystrokes, right? That cloned website talks to their own server. So when you input anything, you just run and tell them, say, okay, this guy don't input password. The
Okay.
password is 1 2 3 4 5 and all of that. So that is how they are able to, steal your sensitive information, especially when you are using cloned or unverified sites.
Okay. So the main thing is to download from the main
Yes, download
site.
from trusted parties.
Okay. All right. So I would like you to share one simple but helpful thing we can do to stay safe online, and then give us other tips as well.
One simple thing you can do to stay safe online is to stop, to
Okay.
think before you click, because that extra 5 seconds you are spending to look at that particular URL might save you extra 5 months of stress. Yes.
So what if you're in a busy area and you need to, maybe something just popped up and then you need to just do it, and
And that is why I stated earlier about identifying phishing attempts, the urgency. There is usually this urgency or this threatening language. They want you to act immediately or you face certain consequences. So at that moment too, you also have to keep your cool, pause, think before you click.
okay. So what about other tips we can be able to use to stay safe
All right.
online,
So that
especially for the older ones?
All right. Other tips are not sharing a lot of informations about you, especially your private informations.
So I noticed that if you want to set up an account with Facebook or other platforms, you
Yeah.
need some certain information to be able to set up that account. So how do you go about it, like your age and all that?
Yeah, you need those kind of information to set up account for platforms like Facebook, especially Meta-owned platforms, not just Facebook, also Instagram.
Okay.
Now, they also have privacy settings as a feature where you can limit who is going to see your those kind of information. So always, activate your privacy settings, hide some of these informations, because there is what we hackers do, ethical hackers,
Okay.
because because I work within the confines of the law, right?
Okay.
I only test when you ask me to. So there's what we do at the first stage. It is called reconnaissance or footprinting or information gathering. Now, this is when we begin to gather information about our targets. Now, the result of this stage is often usernames, email addresses, IP addresses, domain names, and all of that. So we gather all of these informations. And guess where we gather these informations from? Yes. So we look at it, and these informations are the ones that are publicly available, call them open source, from public platforms like social media accounts, because they are a very good tool to us to harvest this sort of information. They are very good when we are carrying out information gathering. So putting out this sort of information online is like you handling a platter of gold to hackers, and you're making their work easy, because hackers have nothing on you except data, except your data, because that is what they need to further their attacks. Now, after gathering this information, we proceed to scanning. Then after that, we exploit, and then there is usually post exploitation, where we need to escalate privileges and then hide our steps or identities.
Okay.
Then for ethical hackers, we provide reports and also offer remediation steps so that organizations can fix these vulnerabilities.
Okay, so let's talk about two-step verification. So how can you add extra layer of protection to your social media accounts?
Okay, all right. First of all, these social media platforms or every other site that store credentials or even have accounts, user accounts, they usually have probably username, email address, or password. And you should always use strong password policies, at
Okay.
least 8 characters with uppercase, lowercase, and digits, even a special character. Now, one way of adding extra layer of security to this your account is by enabling two-factor authentications.
Okay.
Authentication is kind of the process we use to identify users or accounts or systems or even devices, right? So we use authentication to identify people coming in. So we want to know, okay, you are truly who you claim you
To
are.
be.
And there is single factor, which usually makes use of password and PIN. Then there is two-factor authentication and multi-factor authentication. Now, for two-factor authentication, it adds extra layer to um, our social media accounts because you have password, and even if you log in with password, it will still require you to kind of input something like one-time password, OTP, right?
Mm.
Or even fingerprint, something like that. So you see, you have two factors now. So even when hackers bypass your password, they will still need to go through another layer of difficulty before they can
Okay.
access your account, which is OTP. And you can also use a multiple factor authentication. And this is how it works. For multiple factor authentication or multi-factor authentication, it makes use of something you know. And that thing you know is usually your password or your PIN. And then another thing it makes use of is something you own, which can be your phone or your OTP. Now your phone is receiving the OTP, so it is something you own, or even a smart card that contains microservices that can be used to store your credentials. And then the last thing it uses is something that is unique to you, which can be your facial recognition, voice recognition,
Okay.
or even fingerprint. So
Okay.
always enabling two-factor authentication on all your social media accounts adds extra layer of protection to them.
Thank you so much for these informations. We
You're
will not
welcome.
leave here without you giving your advice to other young people that might be interested in going into cybersecurity, or probably they might be invited to a program and then the interest to come up. So what's that one thing you say to them?
So my advice for young people who are pivoting to cybersecurity is, cybersecurity is not just about the technicalities or the coding or automating your task or even using tools to brute force or steal credentials and all of that, blah, 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 blah. Cybersecurity is just about staying curious, asking questions, not trusting any device or any user that is coming in. So, and it is usually difficult for learners because if you want to scale, you will need community, you will need mentors, of course, people that's going to guide you, people that is walking through that path, or people that has already walked through that path. And you start with computer basics and networking basics because at the end of the day, it is networking computer that you are protecting. And you cannot protect something you don't know. If you don't know how it works, how can you be able to protect it? So you need to understand basic computer. You need to understand networking basics before you cannot start pivoting to introduction to cybersecurity. And then you use platforms such as Try Hack Me or Hack the Boss because this platform provide practical experience. And cybersecurity is a hands-on experience field. It is practical. You must practicalize what you are learning. So to do that, you require these sort of platforms and always ask questions. That is one helpful tip. Stay curious.
Okay, so what's your general advice to everybody out there on how to stay safe online?
All right, a lot of people might be thinking that cybersecurity is just for the professionals alone or the ethical hackers. But cybersecurity is actually a thing for everybody that is using digital platforms. So you want to stay safe online, you need to be aware of phishing attempts. You need to know the different kind of attacks, or you need to know the kind of thing you would do in the online space that can jeopardize your online security. And when your online security is compromised, you are also risking those around you. Too, you are also risking the security of those around you. So it is a responsibility for everyone, whether you're a student, whether you're a business owner, or somebody scrolling TikTok. So cybersecurity is for all of us.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you so much once again. So, guys, we've heard from our guest. Thank you so much for sharing this information.
You're welcome.
Okay, do not forget what he said. Stop, think before you click. Yeah. You can also drop your comments in our comment section. So you can drop your questions and your experiences or your experiences on our comment section. Do not forget to like, follow, and share our videos. You can also ask him questions and follow his social media page on Facebook at Cybersecurity with Success, right?
Cybersecurity with success. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Until next time, I remain your host. Please. Bye.